You are listening to Forestry in Focus Weekly News for the latest breaking news in Nova Scotia's forestry community. This episode was recorded on Thursday, October 2nd, and I'm Todd Burgess, Executive Director of Forest Nova Scotia. We've got three headlines this week. The first being pretty significant, with new tariffs being announced by the White House that impact CUSMA compliant trade, which includes softwood lumber from Nova Scotia. We've got a late-breaking wildfire near Lake George that started on Monday. Upwards of 275 addresses are under an evacuation order. And the situation on Hunter's Mountain has triggered a bigger debate about how to handle conflicts about forest management with the Miq'maw. So let's start with our story number one with the tariffs. This week, Section 232 tariffs were announced on Tuesday, September 30th, by Donald Trump. And these are sweeping tariffs on all Canadian goods crossing the border, even if they're CUSMA compliant, which means the Canada-US-Mexico Free Trade Agreement. So these include products that were previously crossing the border free of tariffs, and that included softwood lumber from Nova Scotia. So this is why it matters. Our federal government will really have their hands full dealing with this latest threat. Up until now, Nova Scotia ships softwood lumber to the U.S. tariff-free because our sawmills pay some of the highest stumpage prices in North America. The reason is because they source 80 to 90% of their log and stud supply from private woodlot owners through a truly competitive process. So under the free trade agreement, this is considered a very competitive and not subsidized at all. So these tariffs will simply make our lumber from Nova Scotia more expensive for the American consumer. This 10% tariff applies to all softwood lumber right across the country. Regarding the Lake George wildfire, it's another fire burning in Nova Scotia, nearly 300 hectares in size, which is close to 750 acres. And close to 275 properties are under an evacuation order. This fire situation truly is unprecedented in Nova Scotia. It shows the need for Nova Scotians to truly stay vigilant. Our firefighting resources are stretched to the max, and we can't really afford too much more of this. So please watch the Nova Scotia burn map and abide by the restrictions. And in spite of what you might think about the decisions that are being made by our provincial government, they truly are trying to do what's best for all of Nova Scotians, given the resources that we have, given that the threats and risks that are out there to homes and properties around the province. Our third story about the Hunter's Mountain road blockade. I think it's important that we recognize that we've got a difficult situation here, and it's impacting a whole bunch of people. I feel we need to mention it on this podcast here. We can't ignore it, but I'm hopeful that all those who are involved can get something negotiated sooner than later. So here's a few things that I think you should consider in the weeks to come. First of all, our members received a newsletter this week, and in there's a ton of information about upcoming events, things that have happened this week, including some of the tariffs and a bunch of new late-breaking news stories. So if you're not a member, I would recommend joining Forest Nova Scotia so you can get these newsletters that come out on a regular basis. You'll be well informed. Also, a town hall we held this week in Oxford. Nearly 80 people showed up to this town hall where we talked forestry. We had a few guest speakers. We had David Sutherland from the Association for Sustainable Forestry, and we had Angela McGilvery speak on behalf of the Forestry Contractors Association, as well as myself, about where we're at in forestry in Nova Scotia. It was well attended. Our next town hall will be in Sydney on November 13th, so please watch for that. Our trees campaign is still ongoing, so you still have a chance to come pick up a seedling. from us and actually have a discussion about forestry if you wish. We're going to be at the Nova Scotia Forestry Festival in Lake Charlotte at the Memory Lane Heritage Village this Saturday on October 4th. So we'll have a booth, Forest Nova Scotia. We'll have a booth there, and you can get a seedling, and you can see us there, and we can talk forestry if you like. Also, we're going to be at the Wolfville Farmers Market on October 18th. That's going to be one of our last farmers markets that we're going to be at. So that's your Forestry Nova Scotia news update for the week. Stay tuned for more stories shaping our province's forest economy. Thanks for listening, and remember to follow us on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Have a great week.